guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine and the Sunshine Stampin' Co. here with you for our November paper pumpkin class. So we have made it to near the end of November, November 25th today, if I think I'm correct on that. Yesterday was my parents' anniversary. So yes, that was the 24th. Today is the 25th. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We have the Wrapped in Cheer November 2025 paper pumpkin. So excited to dive into that with you today and make some beautiful creations. As always, we will create our kit and then end with an alternative. Now, there's a lot going on in the world right now. It is nearly Thanksgiving, which means Black Friday's around the corner, all of the holiday shopping, all of the crazy, good, fun things. But Stampin' Up! Is having a Black Friday sale for the first time ever, and it is pretty great. So keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure, good morning, Mary Lemke. I'm pretty sure that kicked off today. If not, it's very, very soon. So we've got that in store for you. Definitely reach out. I've got some goals of my own that I'm trying to accomplish, so I would love your support if you would like to shop the Black Friday sale. Now, we also have a cyber sale. Good morning, Penny Powell. Thank you so much for joining. We have a cyber sale that kicks off December 1st, and that is for you, our Paper Pumpkin subscribers. It is discounted prepaid codes. So that is for the 3-month, the 6-month, and the 12-month prepaid code. There are a couple of details about it. Good morning to Polly and Mary. Thank you so much for joining. So there are a couple of details about it. Such that we are kicking it off with the December 2025 kit. So that is the watercolor wishes, I think it might be called. So keep that in mind. We've got some kits that are coming up and some specials and some sales that are coming up, and that we have some great things in store for you. One of those things, now if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin through myself or Chris, I am going to start writing tutorials for all of the alternative cards that we make, and all of our subscribers are going to get that exclusive tutorial. So fun little bonus. We want you to support us in our businesses through Paper Pumpkin, so we want to give you a reason to do that. And it is my goal to have 100 Paper Pumpkin subscribers. Spoiler alert, right now I have 0. So it would be a great time to join the Paper Pumpkin bandwagon, especially knowing that you're going to get that exclusive PDF with the alternatives. So I would love for you to join my Paper Pumpkin channel, and if you do that, just let me know. I would love to join you on that list of tutorial recipients. So good morning to Susan Bellamy. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and put her down, and we are going to open up the kit. All right, so we have Mossy Meadow, These are cute. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it looks like we have 8 boxes. Oh my gosh, I am loving this. So Paper Pumpkin is primarily cards, but we do throw in a couple little curveballs every once in a while, and this would be one of them. Good morning from Florence, Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Okay, so it looks like we have two different designs for our boxes. We have a green tag and a red tag. Our stamps, oh my gosh, look at that. A gift for you. I love that. We have Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, to from, with love, from our home to yours, sending a little Christmas cheer, and a cute little wreath stamp. Very cool. Okay, so those are the stamps that we have in store. Kit components, we have the supplies for 8 tags and 8 boxes. And then the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors include Basic Beige, Cherry Cobbler, Mossy Meadow, and Old Olive. Okay. So we are going to be making, these are paper pumpkin style boxes, and then we'll be adding the tags on top of them. So let's go ahead and collate out our supplies. So with 8 boxes, we've got 4 and 4. These, okay, so they are printed with a plaid on one side, and then they have a Mossy Meadow / Old Olive glossy interior. So I was thinking these would be great for gift cards, which they absolutely would, but with this glossiness on the inside, honestly, you could get by with like putting a homemade treat in here. Now, it's not huge, it's not very thick, so you'd have to be very strategic about what you're putting in here. Got about a 1/2 inch on the thickness here. Okay, but either way, what pile? I took that off of this pile. So we've got the 2 and the 2, which is incorrect. We've got 4 and 4. I was up very late last night creating my, oh my goodness, these are cool. Printed on both sides. I was finishing up my Advent calendar series last night on my own YouTube channel. And I was up too late and the morning came too quickly, and so we are working on a little bit of brain power this morning. All right, so we are going to make a pile with the green tags and a pile with the red tags. So on the pile with the green tag, we're using the red banner. So let's just make this make sense. So we've got red banners over here, and green banners over here. Then we have this red flag. That's going to be stamped, so I'm not going to punch that out yet. And this is actually going to be for the green tag, which I know is confusing because now we have red banners on them. So we're gonna do this so that we can keep these straight. Okay, then on the green tag, we are taking, okay, there are 4, oh my goodness. This is cool. Everything has 2 colors to it. Wow. I'm a fan of that. Okay, so I don't think I will be able to punch all 4 of these at the same time. I'm not even sure that I'll be able to do 2 at a time, but that's what we're going to shoot for. So the wreath, actually both of the wreaths are going on the green tag. my YouTube channel is the Sunshine Stampin' Co. And actually it's just Sunshine Stampin' Co. Not the. I don't have near as much content out there yet, so it doesn't always pop up right away like when you would search Cards by Christine. But Sunshine Stampin', like Stampin' Up, so Stampin with an apostrophe, Co, C-O. So I just finished, and they're releasing on a daily basis, so not all of them are out there yet unless you paid for the class. Then you had all the URLs. But I just finished recording all of the 13 videos, and they are going to release between now and Thanksgiving is the last one. So they're almost all out there. 13 cards for the 12 Days of Crafting Fun Advent Calendar. Then I've got a couple other videos out there, not a ton yet. Eventually, I will be filming these classes in my studio on my channel so that when I come here, I can spend my time working on other things, not necessarily always filming videos. Now, that being said, the content is always going to come here. So whether it's filmed on my channel or her channel, it doesn't matter because we're going to make sure that all of the content goes in both of the places. We don't want to lose anyone in the, not transition necessarily, because I'm still going to be an active part of this community, just going to start doing some of my own things as well. Thank you so much, Tanya. I really appreciate it. Another thing, and I'm not quite ready with this, so I am going to go put it out in the universe, though, because I want to be doing this. I'm going to be, for anyone who is a supporter of mine, whether they subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, whether they do any of my kit classes, any of those things, I'm going to be doing a daily gratitude journal prompt reading. So one of the things that this community has given me and so many of us is a fun, safe space, and I have kind of strayed away from my gratitude journal, but it was such an important part about me feeling, kind of just acknowledging my feelings, feeling my feelings, and then doing the next right thing. So I am going to be kind of creating a gratitude journal community, and anyone who supports me in any way, shape, or form is going to be invited to that community for those exclusive videos as well. So I am so very excited about that. Okay, that has taken us through punching out all of those super delicate little pieces. Then we have these bows. These bows are on a textured paper, so this is really cool. I would say this is kind of like watercolor paper. Not exactly, but it's kind of got that texture to it. So we have 4 bows per pile. Hello, Connie. Thank you so much for joining. You know, you are so right, Tanya. We do all have so much to be grateful for. And I think what I noticed, so I am in a little bit of a crazy season right now. That's probably always the case, but I noticed that I'm stuck to my phone more than I want to be, or, you know, I'm not prioritizing things like I wish I was. And I really took some time to think about that, and it's because I'm not taking the time to check in with myself and to remind myself of everything that I have and everything that I should be grateful for. So I used to do this gratitude journal on a daily basis, and I looked back to when I was doing that, and I was much more mentally and emotionally strong, much more capable of doing the things that I needed and wanted to do. And I do think it has a lot to do with that. So I wanted to get back to doing that, to being more involved in my own feelings and involved in my own kind of success, or like the things that made me happy. And so part of the reason why I'm doing it is because I want to hold myself accountable to doing it and to being more, sorry. I'm trying really hard not to break these, and that is making me a little a little muddled up in my brain. But make me more responsible for doing it on a routine and daily basis. Well, if I have you guys not only cheering me on, but also relying on it, that sounds like a really great accountability partner that I need. So that's my goal. I talked with my boyfriend about it, made the plan, started creating the prompts, and I'm right there. I'm right there on the cusp of getting it started. My goal is to pre-record and have about a week's worth of them in the hopper, so that when life happens, as life always does happen, if I get behind, I'm not missing up on my deadlines. So I was going to get that going last weekend, but I had to finish up on these advent cards. So going to finish that series, which I am now at the tail end of, and get working on this next. I'm glad I had this to talk about, because not going to lie, these bows have been, actually the bows and all of the rest of the laser cut elements have really been quite an element to punch out. Okay, so we are on our last bow here. Then we'll get the garbage out of the way. Okay, then we have some stamping to do, but for the time being, I am going to skip that. I think the only other things that we have are the embellishments, the ribbons, and the stamping. So I think we have our piles sufficiently set. Now we will move that off to the side and start with our box making. Okay, so Mossy Meadow is our stamp pad for today. And then we've got, oh, I didn't even unbox these yet. Ooh, wow, look at these pretty things. Okay, so we have these frosted matte cherry cobbler embellishments. These are stunning. We also have some mini dimensionals and some glue dots. Okay. Some twine, not quite twine. It's not really the baker's twine, it's more of the like natural jute type twine. Okay, so let's get started with our stamping. I am going to bring in my red tags, my green tags. So the green tags have red on the back side, so not at all confusing. These are so pretty. Holy man. Okay, let's grab, we've got all of these Merry Christmases. These are just for the green tags. So we're making 4 green tags, which means we have plenty of extra here. There are 5 on this sheet, and we actually have 2 sheets of them, so definitely don't need them all. The flat end is going to be on the Merry end, and then the banner end is on the Christmas side. So we've got beautiful stamp. Let's go ahead, ink it up. And then, ooh, this is, okay. Get that positioned where we want it. Now, we do have plenty of excess here, so if we make any mistakes, there is no reason to fret. Okay, that one's a little low. Oh my goodness, got ink all over the place. This Mossy Meadow is a little bit unevenly inked. Okay, that one is a really good one. Okay, there we go. Now we'll let that dry and I will clean off my stamp. Wow, brand new chamois. Holy man. It's the little joys in life. I don't know if all chamois are quite this bright of a purple. I mean, we put so much ink on them and then they kind of change colors, but this seems way brighter. Granted, my chamois that I have at home is back from when they first came out, like, I don't know, was it 5 years ago maybe? Maybe even more? I have no clue. So maybe it is a different color, but either way. Okay, now we're going to stamp the wreath, and the wreath is going to go on the green side of the tag. Oh, just kidding. On the red side of the green tag. A gift for you with love. I'm going to stamp that first. You can go ahead and mount these both on the same block. And I'm wondering if we're stamping the same thing. Nope. Got different on the other tag. So a gift with you, a gift for you with love. This is going to go on the red side of the tag. Now, just for your note, Stampin' Up! Typically gives 1 extra of everything that gets stamped on. Well, in this case, we are making 4 boxes and we have 4 of these tags. So there is not any extra, and I do see this is ready to be re-inked. So I need to be more careful with this stamp pad. I like to go ahead and do all of the stamping at one time. I do know in this video we're not going to be making all of these tags at once, but I like to get all the stamping done just because I have it mounted on my block. I've got all of the supplies I need, and then if I want to sit down and, you know, maybe make these tags or cards or whatever we're doing, I can go ahead and just sit and mass produce. I stamped mine up a little bit just because I might want to add someone's name, maybe a small little sentiment, or like greeting, but not a ton of additional room on there, which is totally fine, but that's why I kept mine up a little bit. All right, we'll get those stamps off. And then we'll switch to the wreath. The wreath is going to go on that same tag, just on the green side. This is just for some added texture, so I don't feel like we need to be too particular here, but the non-leafy side of the wreath is more towards the bottom right side, and then this wreath is going to be roughly centered, though it does look like it's north of center. Again, we're just adding some visual texture to our tags, so don't need to be too completely worried about how this stamps or how perfect it is. All right, that takes care of the green tags. Now we'll bring in the red tags, get those stamped up, and then we'll start the production. For our red tags, sending a little Christmas cheer from our home to yours. Okay, I love using the glass mat because we can just get that stuck where we want it. It's easier to level and everything. All right, this is going to go on the green side of the red tag. I know, not at all confusing. All right, we've got one. This stamp pad has definitely seen its work this holiday season, so I'm definitely going to have to put this aside to get some re-inking. Fun fact, green is my least favorite color, but obviously when it comes to Christmas, we use a lot of green, rightfully so, but it just doesn't do it for me. Mossy Meadow is such a beautiful shade of green, though. I will give it that. As green goes, it's a good one. All right, pull that off to the side, clean up our stamps, put our stamps to the side, and then it's time to get our production on. Project number 1 is our green tag. So let's go ahead and grab the supplies from pile number 1. Just one each of all of our different pieces. So many delicate little parts. Got to make sure that we're not breaking anything. Okay, so for each of these boxes, we are going to be assembling a box. The instructions to make the box are on the last page, and they're all made the same. So basically there's a bunch of score lines on here. So the first thing I would do is go ahead and fold up on all of the score lines. That'll just give you a little bit more flexibility when you're trying to actually fold this thing together. This can look overwhelming. So Penny, I did not stamp the rest of the banners because they're actually just extras as far as I can tell. Now when we're putting them together, I might notice that I missed something, but I think that was everything that needed to be done for this. Good question. Okay, so all of my score lines are folded over now, and when you look at the picture, there's a lot of arrows and it's not as confusing as it looks, okay? I promise you. So, oh, I did miss one, the first of the folds. Okay, so we are going to fold the front flap up, so that's the one that has this little bite out of it. And that's going to bring these small tabs into the box. Then we're going to fold the back half up, which is going to bring the second set of tabs into the box. Then these side flaps with the double walls are going to be what holds it all together. So we're going to, I'm going to lay this back. You do not need to or even want to do this, but just so that you guys can see. So we're gonna lay this back, and then you'll see here that we have these 4 tabs in. So if we lift up this side panel and then push it down, that's going to hook into place into this slot that we have over here. That's going to hold these tabs from being pulled out. So we're going to do that again, and then tuck that in, and then it kind of bows out. So you saw I did over here, I did it without even saying anything. I'm just going to kind of push in so that that flattens out. Now you can take your 3 flaps on the lid and tuck them inside, and your box is complete. We will do that one more time when we do the red tag, but for the most part, we're kind of just following the fold lines. So that is box number 1. Let's head back to tag number 1. We have the stamping done. Then we just need to move into the assembly phase. So we're going to take the ivy leaf wreath, flip it over so that the green side is up. When the green side is facing up, we are going to take our mini dimensionals and just put 2 mini dimensionals on the wreath. There really is, by my understanding, no rhyme or reason as to where we're going to place these. It doesn't necessarily matter. It does make the most sense to try to hide them a little bit. So if you could put them where there's the most amount of intersecting pieces, but there really is not going to be any way to completely completely like camouflage them. So 2 of them on here roughly side to side. Then we are going to take our leaf wreath and flip this on there as well. So basically the 2 dark green sides are going to stay on the bottom. And then we are going to layer these on top of each other. So I see here a call for glue dots. I don't typically use glue dots, but I do think I will in this case because we really are dealing with some very fine details, and I don't necessarily want the glue to be seeping out in any way, shape, or form. So I will go ahead and use glue dots in this instance. Yes, Penny, it is so cute. They are tiny, teeny tiny little paper pumpkin boxes. And I think these would be amazing, absolutely amazing for gift cards. Okay, so we've got our adhesive on the dark green side of both of these wreaths. We're gonna flip them over, and then we are just going to overlap these wreaths. If you notice, there are two parts of the wreath that have the like double stems. I don't know how to explain this, but there's like doubling over. I'm going to have them each on opposite ends. So I've got the two bases on the white side and the two bases on the green side, and I'm just going to have them opposite of each other. Stick down where you have those glue dots placed, which I don't honestly remember where they were. I just know they're somewhere, so I'm going to pat it all down. Then this is going to go on the tag itself. The size of the stamp is smaller than the size of the actual die cut wreaths, so we can go ahead and put that down. Then we are going to flip over our bow and put a dimensional in the middle of that guy. And we will take our Merry Christmases. I forgot to punch them out. That was oopsies. So we've got one of them, and then I'll just punch the rest of them out to put on my pile. And then you've got all sorts of extras of these. So if you stamp well, you will have 10 of these, and we really only need 4 because it is only for this particular design. We're not using them on the, I guess, red tag. So we'll flip the Merry Christmas over and put dimensionals on either side of those. Then we can flip this over and nestle it inside of our wreath. Okay, I was a little afraid of that. So I don't think these are necessarily supposed to be, is it hovering on top of the wreath? So 2 options here. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining. So you can either have your dimensionals, they do show that they're pretty close out to the edge, so maybe I put mine in too far. So you have 2 options here. You can either have it all on the same level. If you would like this to be on the same level as the wreath, I would suggest that you put the dimensionals on the tag and then place your banner on top of it. If you want them to be hovering on top of your wreath, yes, I feel like you can probably put them right on the edges and be fine, but I'm not going to do that because it's a little wobbly weebly with only 2 dimensionals behind the wreath, and they're not necessarily placed where it would be holding the banner up very well. Like I would need it to be here to be held up securely. Obviously I could have turned that, but I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm just going to put dimensionals on the tag themselves. Peel the backing off, and then lay the tag on top of it. Okay, then we have our bow, and I'm just going to put our bow's dimensional, oh my, Okay, so I don't want the bow just like majorly covering up the Merry Christmas, and we've got a really long tail on this guy. So not necessarily a huge fan of that. I guess what I'm going to do is move this all down some. So I feel like no. I have too many dimensionals stuck to do that. Okay, here's some feedback. This all could and maybe should go down farther. I feel like I followed the instructions pretty well on the placement, but it's not spacing out exactly how I would like it to. So go ahead, stamp that wreath down farther and place all of these pieces down farther. Now, to make this make sense, I might trim the bow a little bit, or you know what? I might not even use it. That is your own personal preference. The bow, okay, I love bows. I used to be a cheerleader. I used to wear hair bows all the time. I honestly even do wear hair bows all the time now because I have a different, not a cheerleading style hair bow, but I love wearing bows in my hair. But this, it doesn't necessarily scream that it's the right kind of bow for this. It seems a little big. I don't know. Use it if you like, don't if you don't. But then we're going to align the banner and the tag together. Feed our ribbon through it. And then we are going to make a real bow out of the twine. So, go ahead, tie it, and then tie a nice bow. Okay. That looks very nice. Then in the end, we're going to be attaching this to the box with some dimensionals. So now's when you would decide, do you like this bow? Obviously, if I'm using it, I'm going to trim so that it's not covering up the Christmas, or I'm going to have to, you know, maybe pull it off to the side a little bit like that. But I guess I'll leave it on, but not my favorite accessory in the set. Okay, then we'll grab some of these pretty berries, and we are going to put 3 of them on the wreath. Oh, come on. So let's say I place my bow there-ish. I'm going to just go back and fill these in these areas. So there you go. That is tag number 1. I'm not going to stick this to my box. I think obviously it can be stuck to the box, but I feel like I don't like that level of commitment, if that makes any sense. Okay, so we have box 1 and tag 1. Now we will move on to box number 2. So we'll get a second chance at making the box, and then we'll decorate number 2. Okay. Again, one of each of the pieces. Same color scheme, just kind of flipped. Ah. My goodness. Okay, now take 2 on the box. Again, these boxes are non-adhesive, so all it is some fancy folding. Go ahead and fold on each of your score marks. And then again, I am going to do an additional folding back level just so that from your top-down view you can see what I'm doing. You don't need to fold the lid of your box back like this. But the first step is taking these 4 little tabs. Again, I forgot to fold up on this. That's so funny. At least I'm consistent. Okay, you're going to take these 4 little tabs and fold them in. Then we are going to create the base of the box and tuck in these 2 side flaps. Once you have them tucked in, I want to make sure to level it out by putting some pressure to even this side out. Then we will just go ahead and fold those tabs in and close our box. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, box is on the side. We did our stamping already. Now we will add these pieces. Okay, so the side with the smaller berries, I guess is how we're going to explain it, is going to show the green side up when it's glued down, which means to put the adhesive on, we want to put the adhesive on the lighter side. The side with the big berries is going to show the light side, which means when we're putting adhesives on, we are going to be putting the adhesives on the green side. I'm going to use liquid glue this time. These have a little bit less small, delicate pieces, so I feel like I'm good with using liquid glue this time. So let's go ahead and put the glue or the adhesive on the one with the smaller berries. These large circles at the top are just made to help with the alignment. So we will align them accordingly. Happy Thanksgiving, Melanie. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, then we will put some adhesive on the back of this piece. And now this will get adhered to the tag. I believe this is going to go just beneath the hole where we are going to be threading our ribbon through. So that's where we will put it. Again, we are going to be bringing in 12 inches of our twine. So go ahead and put our green banner behind our red tag. Again, with a bow on the top. So thread that through. Whoa. Then tie a bow on the top. Oh man. Well, thank you so much for joining and saying hi. We do appreciate it. I understand not having this paper pumpkin because you're overwhelmed with Christmas supplies. That happens for sure. Obviously, we know that Paper Pumpkin typically does a Christmas card kit in October, followed by a Christmas something else kit in November. So this is I think this one gets skipped more often because people are more into cards. Not everybody, but I get having skipped this one, but I am a fan of it. I love the colors. I love the traditional feel of it. I do think that we will be able to use these for gifting. Now, this bow, I think, works way better on this one. We're not in jeopardy of covering anything up, and we've got that nice platform to put it on, so I'm more inclined to like the bow on this one. But thank you, Melanie, so much for joining. I do appreciate you watching along. So, take your pick. Go ahead, grab. I struggle with the putty, okay, guys? Like, I wish I was better at it, but alas, I am not. Okay, so we've got 3 berries. I see 2 of them. Okay, so we got 1 over here. Harder to see on this one because of the red base of the tag. Obviously, they don't need to go in any particular place, just anywhere that you would like. We are using 3 of them, so go ahead and get those on there. All right. Then we have, again, dimensionals can go on the back and it can be stuck right onto the box. That takes care of our 2 box designs and our 2 tag designs. I love them both, actually, so much. Now, in terms of an alternative, I want to try to make this into a card. And I'm not quite sure. I might just make a card with the tag on the front. So I'm going to start by grabbing a basic beige card base and see what we can pull together. Okay, I'm going to grab basic beige if I can find it. I haven't gotten used to the fact that basic beige in the cabinet to my right actually is not labeled, so I struggle with that sometimes. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I think I am going to cut this at 4 1/4 and score at 5 1/2. So that is going to give me a vertical card that opens up and down. Okay, so I like that. Then, in terms of these tags, I think we basically have 95% of a finished card right here. What I'm thinking of doing is taking and making a basic beige mat. So we're gonna do 5 1/4 by 4. And I think what I'm going to do is emboss this. Now, I'm not sure if I have any embossing folders down here. I think they are typically upstairs. I have a little bit of a distressed card base here. It's got a little bit of character, we'll call that. I think this side has a dented corner and this side has a dented side. So, which is the lesser of 2 evils? So we're going to go ahead and do that. So for the card that has the red tag, we need a sentiment. For the card that has the wreath, we have the Merry Christmas on it already. So that's, again, like 95% of the way done. I am going to zhuzh it up just a little bit because we don't want it to be too basic. But I am going to quick go run and grab an embossing folder and maybe some ribbon. So enjoy the scenery and the sound of our busy, busy bees. Oh my gosh. So it is Thanksgiving this week. And ask and you shall receive is basically what my friends here are saying to me. Wow, look at all these great options. Which one should I use now? Oh my gosh. Okay, so my friends here, I was just going to say, our busy bees are in the hive, like always, making sure that all of your creations are getting, what are we, kidding?
Yep.
We are kidding up. What are we kidding up today?
This, I believe, is the monthly and maybe let's just stamp.
Wonderful. So we're kidding up for December already? Or is this
Oh yeah,
November?
this is December.
Okay.
We're doing that one.
Oh.
So this must be let's just stamp, and I think we're going to be doing, I don't know what the other one is. I think it's yes. So,
Always something abuzz in the hive, right?
especially November, December, when you have shortened the months.
I know.
Okay, I may go here to the next card.
Do we want to switch that to one of these? So they go over
Okay. So, thankful to our busy bees who are always doing something, always making sure that our things are made and ready for us. And my little Vanna White's over here as well. So I have a selection here of embossing folders, and I didn't know exactly which one to use. I think I'm gonna do the one with the trees here. Now I want to decide though, if I think I'm going to, I think I want the tag off to the left side, which means, which amount of trees do I want it like this, where I've got a big tree next to it, or like this? Probably with the big tree next to it. So let's do that. We'll put this mat over here. And then I love that you can kind of peek through and see where you're going to have it. Now I can just lay this here and decide if that's what I like. And I do think I like that. So we are going to use this Christmas tree embossing folder. Get a nice emboss on here. Part of me was wondering if I should, okay, now all the gears are turning. It is past 10 o'clock, so my brain is starting to work again. I stayed up too late, and I think I had so many things to say. My boys are going by their dad tonight, so I had to pack them and get everything to school so that I'm gonna help Chris with the showcase video this afternoon. But that meant that I had to like actually be very prepared, and I'm not a very prepared type of person. So it was a hard morning. I was going to make myself a chai latte. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I like chai latte. That just didn't make the cut this morning. So maybe now my brain is really starting to kick in gear and register. I'm going to grab a sponge dauber. In the green variety. And I'm going to hope that I do a good job here, because if you watched along in any of my 12 Days of Crafting Fun series, You know, I was the first to admit that I do not have a light hand when it comes to sponging and all of that good stuff. And sometimes you just want a little bit of color. So I'm going to try, guys. I'm going to try to just very ever so slightly color these evergreen trees. And then I start to do a good job. I will say I'm not doing half bad here. Thank you so much for joining, Susan. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And I look forward to you coming back to see what kind of concoction we come up with. But yes, so then I go ahead, I'm doing a good job. And you'll notice if you do watch any of the 12 Days of Crafting Fun, when I start doing a good job, all of a sudden I start doing a bad job because I get too excited, like, okay, I got this, we got this. And then we don't got it. It's okay though. So just a little bit of color on this tree. Once you've got the color pretty ground out of this, or like ground down, then you can take and be more aggressive with your dauber. That'll help get some color into the like second and third and fourth layer of dimension. It does make it darker though, so it just depends on how dark you want your trees to be. But essentially, oh, this is going well. I'm a fan. So I'll just go in with a little bit of extra over here. Okay. Beautiful. I did use Old Olive rather than Mossy Meadow. I did that intentionally because, first of all, it does say that both of the colors are in here. Is that correct? Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. So I could see that we had both of those colors. So they're very complementary as well. So I wasn't necessarily worried about that. But also, knowing that I am very heavy-handed with my sponging, I didn't want to risk putting way too much color on there. The next thing I wanted to do was Stella. Now, I don't know if I should just splatter Stella. I'm thinking about doing that, or if I should just cover the trees with Stella. I think I'm going to try to splatter. Splatter is always a mess. I know that. So I'm going to try to cover up as much of my workspace as possible. So that I don't paint the town. Okay, let's see here. I'm making a cage for my workspace. You came for the comedy hour. All right, there we go. She's pretty protected. So I'm going to get some fresh Stella in the chamber. Correction, I'm going to attempt to get some fresh Stella in the chamber. This one looks like she's pretty cached. Well, splattering will definitely not work if there's not enough Stella in the Stella. Oh my gosh, that's a red one. Okay. Definitely don't use that one. This Stella appears as though she's ready for some rejuicing. Let's see if I can find a different Stella. Vannas. Are there any Stellas in the vicinity? Okay, there's danger in using a brand new Stella for splattering. So let's try not to be too aggressive here. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. Oh man. Okay, Stella was attached to her package with a glue dot. It's like, why is she not coming out? Okay, so a fresh Stella will have plenty of ooey gooey goodness in there, which is exactly what we want for splattering. If you have not opened a Stella ever in your life, you gotta take this black collar off because that'll allow this plunger to get in and break the seal here, which lets the Stella juices flow. Stella juices are the best kind of juices.
No, turkey juice.
Oh, just kidding. My busy bees tell me that is not true. Turkey juice is the best kind. You know what? I love turkey, so I'm not going to disagree with that. Okay, I am trying to be very cautious here that I don't get too much Stella. So you can see that when I'm pressing, it says push on the chamber, it's pushing it down into this section here where it's going to get it into the bristles. But all of a sudden, there's going to be a ton coming out. I just know how this works. So I want to be careful not to push too hard or too fast. So once I see that the glitter is starting to penetrate the bristles, then I'm going to bring something in. You can use your bone folder, you can use your take a pick tool, something hard to tap my Stella pen against that is going to flick the Stella juices onto our card here. So, basically just creating a snowy-ish looking scene with Stella. This technique can be a little frustrating. I understand that because you really don't have control over where this is going. I know when I'm tapping that it's likely going to go down and back, but you might get some areas that are very full and other areas that you're struggling, like you're trying really hard to get it in that particular area. Often, there's not much, if any, control over where this is going, and I do understand that that can be frustrating, but it is just a random look, so do your best to accept that. Okay. When you are satisfied with how it looks, go ahead and clean up your workstation. This is a very important step because Stella can stay. So you want to make sure that you clean up, that this alcohol doesn't infiltrate your workspace. So I'm just going to quickly clean up, and then I'm going to grab some paper towel behind me and clean up the splatter. Love the glass mat. It really simplifies cleaning. Also, like you saw, I spent some time making sure that I had everything protected because it gets everywhere. And the more places that you protect, the less places you have to clean. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now we have this beautiful background. I'm going to put this on my card base, and then I'm going to stick my tag on there. Look at that! Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Let's say, I'm basically right now I'm kind of just making a mock-up, but either of these work really great on here. Wow. Okay, I'm going to get a ribbon, I think. We've got the embellishments there. We added the Stella, which helps add some something there. I think I'm going to go ahead. Hello, Sherry Ott. Thank you so much for joining. We are just wrapping up our alternative, putting the finishing touches on it. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this down flat. Okay. I love basic beige. Such a beautiful, yet you might say understated color. Okay, let me go grab a ribbon. I'm at the mercy of what is in the supply drawer, which I know there's not as many things down here as we have upstairs, but I'm okay with this. This is gonna work for me. Full disclosure, not positive what of all this is always current. In my supply drawer, we've got the herringbone ribbon. That's what I'm going to use right here, right now. If it is not, we can get the same effect from any number of various thicker ribbons, or even using a thinner ribbon to create that same thickness effect. Okay, so in the meantime, I want my tags to actually stay put. So in this instance, when they were tags on the box, they're just loosey-goosey, which is great because you could flip it over and write someone's name on it, but that's not necessarily the effect that we're looking for in this card. So I am going to go ahead and glue these together so that it can be part of the card front. So I'm going to glue it at this angle here. Just gonna sneak a little bit of glue behind here, and then in the end, I'm gonna put dimensionals behind this, but I'm not gonna do that yet. And actually I'm going to do that and not take the dimensional backers off, because I am going to show you what this would look like for both of the cards. And I did just make one card base to put this on. So that's thing number one. So let's go ahead and put, where did I even put my dimensionals? They're over here. I am going to put dimensionals behind the banner part. And while we're at it, I'm going to do the same thing. So basically, the purpose for the alternative here, you know, I've got a lot of different feelings when I'm making an alternative. Sometimes I'm trying to get more for my money, you know, make some extra bonus cards. Sometimes I want to really kind of step away from the theme or the idea of what the kit was designed around because I don't like it. Sometimes I just want to make cards because there's no cards in the kit. That is what this alternative is achieving. Obviously, I love the theme. I love everything about this, but I'm a card maker and I like making cards, so I want to make cards. So this is the look that I've got going on here. I am going to grab, remember when I said we had a ton of these extra Merry Christmas banners? Well, this set of tags does not have a sentiment. So I do feel as though this card needs a sentiment. So we're going to stick this sentiment on the card. There is also a Happy Holidays sentiment for those of you that prefer that greeting. I'm going to put it roughly here-ish. And then I do want to put some ribbon on here. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Better.
We're getting there.
No crutches right now.
No crutches. I saw a wheelchair too. That was
Yes, for Sunday or Saturday,
okay.
if I need it.
Okay. Well, we'll nurse you back to health before then, right?
That's supposed to be.
That's the plan. So next I'm going to add just a little bit of ribbon off the edge here. So I think I'm going to direct it that way and then just weave it back and forth just to get a little bit of flutter on the side here. I think that's a little too thick, so let's be a little more directive here. Ooh, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, tear and tape to complete it. So we've got a real big ruffle going on here, which is obviously the look I'm going for. But I do want to tame it down just to make sure that we're not getting out of hand here. Then I'm going to take my ribbon scissor and just trim this down. Okay. Then in the end, when I stick it down, yay, Tanya, love using the tags on a card. Great idea. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is essentially what it's going to look like when I stick it down. But I'm going to do the same thing over here to give you an idea of what that could look like as a card. And then, yes, in the end, I can make an additional card base and whatnot. But for time's sake, we're just going to leave it like this. Okay, so I'm going to, again, leave a tail and then just do a thick weave. Ah! Oh, man. A thick weave off the side. Okay, flip it over, make sure that you like it. I think this is a little too thick towards the top, so so a long time ago, I coined this quote-unquote the lamb technique. Lamb is my last name, because I was doing it all the time. The thing I like the most about it is it's very temporary. So I can put it down, I can move it, I can change it, I can tear the whole thing up and walk away from it if I just don't like it. But I love putting a ruffle of ribbon on the side. Okay, then we are going to secure that with some tear and tape. And then this is what that card would look like. Again, go ahead, release the... Oh, just kidding. Go ahead and release the dimensionals on the back, stick it on, and you've got your card. But we cannot forget to trim the edges. That was at a bad angle.
You're good.
I feel like I'm giving it a haircut. That's better. A little shorter than I typically like, but the angle was more important than the length. All right, well, thank you, Tanya and Mary. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy the card.
I'm registered for backstage, or on stage.
Woohoo!
Yay, yep. So
Yes, that's
you have to
today.
You have to be done at 11, so you can
Yup,
register.
I'm gonna do that. So, we made it to the end. Just as a reminder, I know I'm kind of recycling some pieces here, so you're getting a little bit of an incomplete look at this. This would be how the tag was made for the box, of course, without the ribbon. This would be how the tag was for this box, with or without the sentiment. That is your choice. And then you can always utilize these tags to make cards if that is more your speed. So here's option 1, and here's option 2 on that. What do you think? Are you a fan? I'm a fan. I love this kit. It is gorgeous. I love that you can use them for gift cards, but I also love that you can get the mileage out of it to make cards if that is what you are more interested in. So, thank you so much for joining. Like I promised earlier, we are going to actually be writing a tutorial for this. So if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin through Chris, or please consider subscribing through me, our subscribers will always receive a PDF tutorial of the alternative cards. So that's just a token of our appreciation for you supporting our business by being a subscriber.
Go Kelly.
Woohoo! I'm so excited. I got my first hand at writing tutorials for the 13 days of crafting fun cards. So that was it was a good one to start with because they are a little simpler. They're more of the like memories and more style cards, but there were 13 of them. So it was like, you know, a little simpler, but a lot more cards. But yes, I will be writing up a tutorial. I will be doing that sometime within this week. So if you are a subscriber, please keep your eyes peeled in your inbox for that. Yay! Yes, Tanya, I will be going to Onstage. I have about half an hour to get my stuff together to register. Chris just said that she got registered, so that's amazing. So we will be there. Cannot wait to see all of you who are also planning on attending and hanging out with our crafting community. Yay, so excited. So thank you so much. Glad that you love the card. So sending sunshine, love, and big hugs your way. Have a great day and a blessed holiday season, kicking it off with Thanksgiving.